Sunday. I'm not sure why I'm writing this down on paper and not on my computer. I guess I've just noticed some odd things. It's not that I don't trust the computer. I just need to organize my thoughts. I need to get down all the details somewhere objective. Somewhere I know that what I write can't be deleted or changed. Not that that's happened. It just everything blurs together here, and the fog of the memory lends a strange cast to things. I'm starting to feel cramped in this small apartment. Maybe that's the problem. I just had to go and choose the cheapest apartment, the only one in the basement. The lack of windows down here makes day and night seem to slip by seamlessly. I haven't been out in a few days because I've been working on this programming project so intensively. I suppose I just wanted to get it done. Hours of sitting and staring at a monitor can make anyone feel strange, I know, but I don't think that's it. I'm not sure when I first started to feel like something was odd. I can't even define what it is. Maybe I just haven't talked to anyone in a while. That's the first thing that crept up on me. Everyone I normally talk to online while program has been idle were simply not logged on at all. My instant messages go unanswered. The last email I got from anybody was a friend saying he'd talk to me when he got back from the store, and that was yesterday. I'd call with my cell phone, but reception's terrible down here. Yeah, that's it. I just need to call someone. I'm going to go outside. Well, that didn't work so well. I looked in the mirror before I went out. I figured I was just going out for a quick cell phone call. I did change my shirt, though because it was lunchtime, and I guessed that I'd run into at least one person I know. That didn't end up happening. I wish it did. When I went out, I opened the door to my small apartment slowly. A small feeling of apprehension had somehow already lodged itself in me, for some indefinable reason. I chuckled it up to having not spoken to anyone but myself for a day or two. I peered down to the dim grey hallway. On one hand, a large metal door led to the building's furnace room. It was locked, of course. 2 soda machines stood by it. I bought a soda from one of the first day I moved in, but it had a 2-year-old expiration date. I closed my door softly and walked the other direction, taking care not to make a sound. I have no idea why I chose to do that, but it was fun, giving in to the strange impulse not to break the droning hum of the soda machines, at least for a moment. I got to the stairwell and took the stairs up to the building's front door. I looked through the heaviest door's small square window and received quite the shock. It was definitely not lunchtime. City was dark outside, and the traffic lights blinked yellow. Nothing moved, save the few sidewalk trees that shifted in the wind. I remember shivering, though I wasn't cold. Maybe it was the wind outside. I could hear it through the heavy metal door, and I knew it was that unique kind of late-night wind. I decided not to go outside. Instead, I lifted my cell phone to the door's little window and checked the signal meter. The bars filled up the meter and I smiled. Time to hear someone else's voice, I remember thinking, relieved. It was such a strange thing to be afraid of nothing. I shook my head, laughing at myself silently. I called for my best friend Amy and held the phone up to my ear. It rang once, but then it stopped. Nothing happened. I listened to silence for a good 20 seconds, then hung up. I looked at the signal meter again, still full. I went to dial her number again, but then my phone rang in my hand. I put it up to my ear. "Hello?" I asked, immediately fighting down a small shock at hearing the first spoken voice in days, even if it was my own. I had gotten used to the droning hum of the building's inner workings, my computer, and the soda machines in the hallway. There was no response to my greeting at first, but then finally a voice came. "Hey," said a clear female voice, obviously a college age like me. "Who's this?" "Sarah," I replied, confused. "Oh, sorry, wrong number," she replied, then hung up. I lowered my phone slowly. That was strange. I looked at my received calls list, but the number wasn't familiar. Before I could think on it, the phone rang loudly, shocking me yet again. This time, I looked at the caller before I answered. It was another familiar number. This time I held the phone up to my ear but said nothing. I heard nothing but the general background noise of a phone. Then a familiar voice broke my attention. "Sarah?" was the single word in Amy's voice. I breathed a sigh of relief. "Hey, it's you," I replied. "Who else would it be?" she responded. "Oh, the number. I'm at a party on 7th Street and my phone sat down just as you called me. This is someone else's phone, obviously." "Oh, okay," I said. "Where are you?" she asked. "At my building," I sighed. "Just feeling cooped up. I didn't realize it was so late." "You should come here," she said, laughing. "No, I don't feel like looking for some strange place by myself in the middle of the night," I said, looking out the window at the silent, windy street that secretly scared me just a tiny bit. "I think I'm just going to keep working or go to bed." "Right," she said. "Okay, have to go. Good luck with your work." The droning silence suddenly appeared in my ears. The two strange calls and the eerie street outside. Perhaps from having seen too many scary movies, I had the sudden idea that something could look in the door's window and see me. I knew the fear was irrational, but nobody else was around. So I jumped down the stairs, ran down the hallway into my room, and closed the door as swiftly as I could while still staying silent. It's late. I got a call from a wrong number, but it was Amy. She called me back from another number. Nothing strange is happening. Still, there was something a little off about that conversation. Was it even her that seemed off to me? I didn't realize it until this moment, writing these things down. She said she was at a party, but I only heard silence in the background. Of course, that doesn't mean anything in particular. Monday. I forgot to finish writing last night. I'm feeling ridiculous. Last night's fear seems unreasonable to me now. I can't wait to go out into the sunlight. I'm going to check my email, shower, and finally get out of here. Wait, I think I heard something. It was thunder. I went out into the stairwell and up the stairs, only to find disappointment. At least I knew it was daytime, even if it was a gray, sickly, wet day. I turned around, but I didn't want to go back to my room. Instead, I wandered farther up the stairs, to the highest floor in the building. I opened the stairwell door and wandered down the hallway. The 10 or so thick wooden doors, painted blue a long time ago, were all closed. Excited to look out into the rain and possibly see another human being, I quickly walked over to the alcove, finding the large thin glass window. I had the strangest feeling that if I opened that window, I would see something absolutely horrifying on the other side. So I came back to get my webcam. I know this is silly, but I don't have anything better to do. I watched the webcam on my computer intently, seeing the hallway outside my door and most of the stairwell. I just wish the camera's position was different, so that I could see out the front door. Hey, somebody's online. I got out an older, less functional webcam that I had in my closet to video chat with my friend online. I couldn't really explain to him why I wanted to video chat, but it felt good to see another person's face. He couldn't talk very long, but I feel much better. My strange fear has almost passed. I would feel completely better, but there was something odd about our conversation. He was very vague in his responses. I can't recall one specific thing that he said, but he did ask for my email address to keep in touch. Wait, I just got an email. From Amy that asked me to meet her for dinner at the place we usually go to. I feel ridiculous about the odd couple of days I've been having. I should destroy this journal when I get back. Oh, another email. Oh my god. I almost opened the door, but I read the email first. It was from a friend I haven't heard from in a long time, and it was sent to a huge number of emails that must have been every person he had saved in his address list. It had no subject, and it said simply, "Seen with your own eyes, don't trust them, they..." What the hell is that supposed to mean? The words I obviously cut off without finishing. On any other day I would have dismissed this as spam from a computer, but the words, "seen with your own eyes." No, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I need to calm down. The madness needs to end. I don't know what to think. I ran about my apartment furiously, holding my cell phone up to every corner to see if it got a signal through the heavy walls. Finally, in the tiny bathroom, near one saline corner, I got a single bar. Holding my phone there, I sent a text message to every number in my list. I simply sent, "You seen anyone face to face lately?" At that point, I just wanted any reply back. Nobody responded. My messages grew more frantic and I started telling people where I was. I didn't care about anything by that point. I just needed to see another person. Tuesday. Exhausted from last night's rampage, I must have fallen asleep. I woke up to the phone ringing and ran into the bathroom. It was Amy, and I feel so much better. She was really worried about me, and apparently had been trying to contact me since the last time I talked to her. She's coming over now, and yes, she knows where I am without me telling her. My apartment is trashed, but I'm not going to clean it up. I think I need someone else to see what I've been through. These past few days have not been normal. I'm not one to imagine things. Finally, I knock on the door. I thought it was odd that I couldn't see her through the camera I hid between the two soda machines. I figured that it was bad positioning, like when I couldn't see out the front door. I should have known. After the knock, I yelled through the door jokingly that I had a camera between the soda machines, because I was embarrassed myself that I had taken this paranoia so far. After I did that, I saw her image walk over to the camera and look down at it. She smiled and waved. "Hey," she said to the camera brightly, giving it a wry look. "It's weird, I know." I sat into the mic attached to my computer. "I've had a weird few days." "Must have," she replied. "Open the door, Sarah." I hesitated. How could I be sure? I sighed deeply as reality returned and fear faded. God had been so ridiculous. Of course it was Amy. I almost turned to the door and opened it, but my eyes fell on one last thing. The old webcam, the one I used for that eerie vacant chat with my friend. An overwhelming terror took me as I realized that if something could see through the camera, it would have seen what I just wrote about all day. I asked her for anything about us, and she chose the only thing in the world that I thought they or it didn't know. But it did. It did know. It could have been watching me the whole time. I didn't open the door. I screamed in uncontrollable terror. I stamped on the old webcam on the floor. The door shook, but I didn't hear Amy's voice through the door. What could have been trying to get in if not her? I saw her on my computer through the camera outside, but was it real? How can I know? She's gone now. I piled up everything in my apartment against the front door. Friday. At least I think that it's Friday. I broke everything electronic. I betrayed my existence by trying to call Amy, a call which didn't work until it called me and asked me my name. I knock on the door. I told the people on the other side of the door I need a minute to think and I'll come out. At least this time I heard their voices. My paranoia said that there could be nothing but speakers outside, simulating human voices. Amy is supposedly out there, alone with 2 policemen and psychiatrist. I'm desperate just to see someone with my own eyes. Psychiatrist said I have something called cyberpsychosis, and I'm just one of the nationwide epidemic of thousands of people having breakdowns, triggered by a suggestive email that is got through somehow. That neatly explains the strange email about eyes that I got. I didn't get the original triggering email. Date unknown. I calmly asked for a paper and a pen, day in and day out, until it finally gave them to me. The bandages feel like part of me now. The pain is gone. I sit against the padded wall day in and day out. The entity brings me food and water. It masks itself as a kind nurse. That's the worst part, the part I almost can't handle. The thing comes to me, masquerading as Amy. Its reaction is perfect. It sounds exactly like Amy, feels exactly like her. When it first dragged me here, it told me all the things I wanted to hear. The false Amy used to come every day and then every week, and finally stopped coming altogether. But I don't think the entity will give up. The doctor wanted to smile. He wanted to whisper words of encouragement to the delusional man. He wanted to scream, but the nerve filaments wrapped around his head and into his eyes made him do otherwise. His body walked into the cell like a puppet and told the patient once more that he was wrong, that there was nobody trying to deceive him.